please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Then let's take it straight to the top story this afternoon. The Union Cabinet may consider promulgating an ordinance that awards death penalty to those convicted of raping a child below 12 years of age. The Cabinet is meeting as we speak. The government's move comes on the back of the outrage over the incidents of rape of minors in Uttar Pradesh, Unnao and Jammu Kashmir's Kathua. My colleague Sahil Megnani will join us in a bit, but let's go to the other story that we're tracking at this point in time. Now, yesterday, in an unprecedented move, 64 sitting members of the parliament signed a motion to impeach the Chief Justice of India, Deepak Mishra. The Congress, along with 6 other parties, has moved the motion to remove the Chief Justice. This move came less than 24 hours after a bench led by Chief Justice Mishra ruled out any foul play in the death of Judge B.H. Loya, who was hearing the Sohrabuddin fake encounter case. BJP President Amit Shah is an accused in this case, but the Congress party has made it clear that this case has nothing to do with its decision to move the impeachment motion. In fact, late Justice Loya's matter is not listed as one of the 5 charges against the Chief Justice in the impeachment motion. The 7 political parties says moving the motion is the only recourse to remedy the situation. So what are the specific charges leveled by these 64 MPs against the Chief Justice? Ashmit Kumar is standing by with that. Ashmit?
Right, so an impeachment motion is under consideration. Mind you, there are only 2 grounds for impeaching a judge. One is incapacity, which is not in question here. The second question is proved misbehavior. Now, to manifest that point of proved misbehavior, we have 5 very severe charges being leveled against the Chief Justice of India under this impeachment motion. Let's quickly take our viewers through them. The first one pertains to the Prasad Education Trust case. This was a case that was heard briefly by the Chief himself. The question also arose by way of a CBI investigation where they cornered individuals that were seeking bribes, essentially citing proximity to the Chief himself. So essentially the charge being leveled here is that the facts and circumstances show a prima facie evidence suggesting that the CJI might have been involved in a conspiracy by persons associated with the Prasad Education Trust for payment of illegal gratification. So that's the first serious charge being leveled. Let's take a look at the other charge, the second one, and this is a follow-up charge essentially. Keep in mind that there was a plea that was filed before the Apex Court that sought an independent probe regarding that very same case, regarding the very same charges of seeking of illegal gratification. And the charge here essentially is the way CJI dealt with the matter on both the judicial side as well as the administrative side with respect to this petition. And that is what created more questions than answers. That's the second charge being pulled here as far as the Chief Justice is concerned. Let's look at the third charge that has now been leveled. The CJI appears to have antedated administrative orders. Again, a very serious questions of forgery being leveled against none other than the Chief himself. So that makes up the third charge. As far as the fourth question that is raised, and this is quite serious as well, it goes back very many years when the Chief was an advocate in the Odisha High Court. The charge being leveled here is that the CJI acquired land when he was an advocate in Odisha High Court, mind you, by giving an affidavit, a false affidavit that was found to be false. That's essentially the charge being leveled. The second part of that charge is that despite allotment and cancellation of orders in 1985, he surrendered that land only in 2012 when he was elevated to the Apex Court. That's the fourth charge. And the fifth one, of course, is critical. It is more contemporary. It's the charge we've heard of more recently, that the CJI is arbitrarily assigning cases, politically sensitive cases, to select judges. Keep in mind that the January press conference that we had, where we had 4 judges of the Apex Court coming out in the open, they made a direct reference to this practice of preferential treatment of cases, preferential treatment of assignment of cases. In fact, very recently, Justice Chalameshwar also said that the Jayalalitha DA case was a classic example of how cases were being assigned to preferred benches. So clearly, some very, very strong charges being leveled. Of course, the ball now rests in the court of the Rajya Sabha chairman to decide whether or not to allow the impeachment motion.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Ashmit, taking us through all the charges that have been leveled against the CJI. So how is the legal fraternity reading into these developments? We reached out to 2 of India's foremost legal luminaries, former Attorney General Sauli Sorabji and senior Supreme Court lawyer Ram Jethmalani. Sorabji said that he agreed with the Finance Minister, who has slammed the move as motivated. The Finance Minister, remember, yesterday in a statement on social media had slammed the Congress for using impeachment as a political tool and accuses them of intimidating judges. He called their motion a revenge petition. Ram Jethmalani was also on the same page as Sorabji. He called the move a propaganda by those who have ignored the law. Listen in.
The point I'm making is confidence of the people rests in the judiciary. That should not be affected. And even if you say that what the four judges say is correct, that's not proved misbehavior. That means their impression that we should get the cases, as the Chief Justice giving cases to us. To my mind, it seems to be an attempt to tell the judges that if you don't pass orders which we think are correct, which are to our liking, we will embarrass you, we will humiliate you. Because it's very clear they haven't got the numbers. They won't succeed in getting the impeachment motion. Then what's the idea? Idea is to send a message that be careful, don't pass orders which we think are bizarre or incorrect, otherwise you will have to face an impeachment motion and the humiliation and embarrassment which follows therefrom. I'm very much against that. I'm very disturbed that this should happen in our country.
You're saying you're disturbed that this has been done to embarrass and humiliate the Chief Justice. In fact, you're also calling this a means of intimidation, which is exactly what the Finance Minister has also said. He said that these are intimidatory tactics on whether you have a case of proven misconduct or numbers on your side. This is a serious threat to judicial independence. Would you agree that this now puts the judiciary in a crisis of confidence?
Well, it does in a way. It's trying to lobby the judiciary, no question about it. And that's the reason I've just mentioned that Manmohan Singh and Salman Khurshid, they realize the implication of this. Don't go by the Congress just wants, I'm afraid, temporary political gains without realizing the serious consequences it has on the institution itself and on the public's perception of the judiciary. That's unfortunate, very unfortunate.
But Mr. Sorabji, do you see no merit at all in those 5 charges that have been put forward by these 7 political parties in the impeachment motion? Do you believe that there is no merit in those charges?
Well, I'm not here to go into the merit or not the merit. My point is, even if there is something in those charges, impeachment motion is not the right remedy. There may be other cases. Bar associations are known to hold meetings criticizing a judge of the Supreme Court or the Chief Justice. The other recourses, not the impeachment motion, is a remedy of last resort. You're trying to remove a judge and affect his security of tenure. So it must be a solid, concrete basis.
I don't believe any one of the allegations that are being made, and they are talking of 5 items against them. There is not even one.
Why do you say that there is not even one?
One means why I say is, now, first of all, let me tell you that the persons who have initiated all this mischievous propaganda against the poor Chief Justice are persons who do not know the law at all. And I'm very serious about this assertion of mine. They don't know the law, or they know the law and sort of they have completely ignored it.
You think Kapil Sibal would deliberately present a case which is not strong? In law, he also happens to be a lawyer, sir.
That seems to be the real state of affairs. I mean, I can't understand any responsible lawyer doing a thing like this. And I am surprised that this has happened. And I am already getting signals that their unity is breaking.
Yeah, that within the Congress, there are 2 clear-cut views. It appears that the likes of Mr. Chidambaram, who himself is a lawyer, he doesn't want to be a part of this petition. And Kapil Sibal is of the view that those people who have cases against them or those who may end up facing embarrassment at the hands of the Supreme Court are not a part of this. Does this defeat this entire process of moving an impeachment motion
itself?
Not at all,
but first of all, they do not even know the provisions of the Constitution which apply to the removal of a person like this.
But sir, look at where this case really stands. The truth is, and this is again being repeated by Ghulam Nabi Azad and Kapil Sibal, that 4 learned judges of the Supreme Court themselves came out in public domain to question the manner in which Chief Justice was conducting proceedings. Is that not ground enough for this impeachment motion to be moved?
The 4 justices are wholly wrong. They should never have created this kind of a public mischief, and this matter should have been resolved in private conferences with them, or they should have called some leaders of the bar, sat with them and chalked out things. This is not the way to go to the press, make statements, and as if the poor Chief Justice is some kind of a criminal. This is ridiculous. I mean, I know this Chief Justice. I appeared before him. I have much more respect for him than for many others.
All right, so those were India's legal luminaries talking about this. In fact, we also spoke with Abhishek Manu Singhvi, the Congress Member of Parliament from the Rajya Sabha. He told us that he was the last Member of Parliament to sign the motion. He told Shireen that there is a general feeling of distrust, apprehension across the political class.
Do you support this motion? Because we've just heard from a member of the Congress party, former Law Minister Ashwini Kumar, suggesting that if he were in the position to sign such a petition, he would never have done so. The former Prime Minister, Mr. Manmohan Singh, has been apprehensive. He isn't a signatory to this motion either. Are you a signatory to this motion?
Well, first of all, only Rajya Sabha members have to sign. Secondly, only members of parliament who are Rajya Sabha members have to sign. I had expressed reservations about the timing and the need, and I was no doubt the last to sign, but I signed last Sunday. And I signed as a loyal soldier of the Congress party because, excuse me, everybody has signed from the Congress party who is a member of the Rajya Sabha. There are two exceptions. Dr. Manmohan Singh is a former Prime Minister, and he is in that sense a special category by himself and stands exempted. Mr. Chidambaram has personal litigation pending in the same court, and I don't think it would be appropriate for him to sign. But the fact of the matter, if you ask me the question, is yes, I have signed. Shirin, it's not a pleasant thing, it's not a happy day, it's not with great pleasure or happiness that we have filed it. The charges are there for you to read, there are 5 of them. But I think above and more than the charges, the issue is one of a general feeling of distrust, a general feeling of misgiving, of apprehension. Where does this perception come from? It is there very much in a political class across the board. And impeachment was a provision of the Constitution created.
Let's revisit the top story that we're tracking this afternoon. The Union Cabinet may consider promulgating an ordinance that awards death penalty to those convicted of raping a child below 12 years of age. The Cabinet is meeting as we speak. The government's move comes on the back of the outrage over incidents of rape of minors in Uttar Pradesh's Unnao and Jammu and Kashmir's Katwa. Sahil Mingnani has been tracking the story, joins us now. Sahil, what are you picking?
The Union Cabinet Minister meet has been on for some time now. Behind me at the Prime Minister's residence, as you rightly pointed out, the top priority, as we are being given to understand, is that push being given for very crucial amendment to POCSO Act, where it is now being suggested, or it is now being pushed, that death penalty for raping a child who is below the age of 12 years is now being pushed. That is what we are being hinted at. Now, this is happening in the backdrop of cases, as you rightly pointed out, in Katwa. In fact, this also in a way dominated the narrative of PM's trip abroad, where while speaking to Indian diaspora, he did make some references to that. Apart from that, another important bill which is likely to be discussed is Economic Offenders Bill. This is in reference to what we have seen in the recent past with absconders like Nirav Modi. He did take it up with the UK PM as well. So these are said to be the 2 top priorities of this cabinet meet, which is underway as of now, which the Prime Minister called in soon after coming back from his multi-nation trip abroad. So these are the 2 top priorities, with the main focus, of course, likely to be on bringing that amendment, bringing that ordinance to amend the POCSO Act.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Sahil. We'll keep coming back to you as and when there are more developments to this, but thank you for updating us about this. On to the next big global development now. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has made a surprise announcement of suspending of all nuclear and long-range missile tests, as well as shutting down a nuclear test site. The country's official Korean Central News Agency said the The country is making the move to shift its national focus to national focus and improve its economy. The announcement comes just weeks after the first ever meeting between American and North Korean leaders. Remember, North Korea had tested 3 intercontinental ballistic missiles and a destructive hydrogen bomb last year, showing the world its nuclear arsenal with a global reach. And US President Donald Trump has tweeted, welcomed this move to suspend Korea's nuclear and missile tests and shut down a nuclear test site, calling this a big progress for the country and the world. Remember, Donald Trump has been demanding denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Kim Jong-un has been quoted as saying that North Korea should focus on economic development as it has now achieved the aim of becoming a nuclear state. And staying with Trump and the United States, the Democratic Party has filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the Trump campaign and the WikiLeaks organization. The complaint alleges that top Trump campaign officials conspired with the Russian government and its military spy agency to hurt Hillary Clinton's campaign during the 2016 presidential polls. The Trump campaign, however, has ripped apart the Democrats' claim, calling it a sham. Ilan Moy now joins us with more details. Ilan, take it away.
President Trump's campaign manager released this statement calling that lawsuit a sham lawsuit about a bogus Russian collusion claim filed by a desperate, dysfunctional, and nearly insolvent Democratic Party. Now, of course, that lawsuit alleges that both the campaign as well as Russia and WikiLeaks interfered in the DNC's operations during the 2016 election. President Trump's campaign now saying if this lawsuit moves forward, they plan to use the discovery process aggressively to ask new questions about Hillary Clinton's email server, as well as the battle between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders for the Democratic nomination. But again, the campaign calling this a frivolous suit. And once again, the Trump administration now being involved in yet another heated legal battle. Back over to you.
Okay, staying with the US, let's also take a look at how Wall Street fared in trade yesterday. Apple, that one fell over 4% in trade after Morgan Stanley estimated that the company's iPhone sales for the June quarter will disappoint Wall Street. As a result of that, Dow fell over 200 points, Nasdaq too lost about 1.3%, and the S&P did try to make a bit of a recovery but did break below the 50-day moving average and important technical support. Also important to note is that the US 10-year Treasury yield hit 2.96%, the highest level that it has seen since 2014. Now, yesterday, the stock of the day was IT bellwether TCS, at the cusp of becoming India's first listed company to enjoy a market capitalization of $100 billion. In fact, the company's market cap is currently 2.5 times that of its nearest competitor, Infosys. The shares of TCS soared to record high in yesterday's session, up 7%. And what has TCS's journey been like since it listed on the stock exchanges and to now $100 billion? Close to that, Anuj Singhal is here to explain. Anuj, over to you.
In fact, it would have been $100 billion sometime earlier itself, but keep in mind, in a country like India where rupee normally depreciates, you have to take into account that as well. So, in fact, if you take into account that factor, the journey has been even more phenomenal. But let's start with the TCS's listing, of course. It was way back in August 2004. I was just 1 year into this profession of tracking markets at that point. It listed at a market cap of 47,000 crores, which at that exchange rate actually amounted to $10 billion. After that, 2006, it hit 1 lakh crores, so almost double over a 2-year period. Doubled in next 4 years again with the market cap of about 2 lakh crores. After that, of course, it wasn't a great time for IT sector for a bit, so took a time to get to 3 lakh crores by March 2013. But from March 2013 to December 2013, the next 1 lakh crores came rather swiftly, as you saw on that graphic plate as well. Then almost an 8-month or 10-month gap, October 2014 is when it hit 5 lakh crores. Then, of course, the IT sector went through a bear market of its own and spent a lot of time consolidating. In fact, a lot of companies destroyed value. TCS, of course, still managed to do well, but it took time for TCS as well and the entire sector to come back. And the last 6 months or last 1 year, last 6 months of 2017 and the first 3 or 4 months of this year have all been about IT. So Jan 2018 is 6 lakh crores and today 6.6 lakh crores. What if you invested 1 lakh in TCS's IPO? How much would you be worth today? 16 lakh in terms of the value of the shares, 21,000 in terms of dividend. all tax-free, or most of it tax-free, now that we have LTCG as well, though it's been grandfathered, of course. Now, the most interesting point is, we keep talking about this Infosys versus TCS comparison. In some way, it's not fair because Infosys, TCS straight away listed at 47,000 crore market cap. Infosys listed way lower, less than 1,000 crores, and has been actually a much bigger wealth generator. But still, TCS listed a 25% discount to Infosys in its market cap, caught up with Infosys over a 6-year period. Even though it was the largest company always by numbers, by sales and profit, it was always higher than Infosys. But because Infosys had been trading for so long and had given such a great trading history, Infosys always was the bellwether, and TCS always used to command a discount to Infosys. But look at what has happened now. Now TCS is 2.5 times Infosys, so Infosys plus Infosys and half of Infosys. Not just that, TCS market cap is 52% of all the index IT companies. It's higher than all the other IT companies put together in the index. Such has been the phenomenal journey, of course, of the bellwether called TCS.
All right, within kissing distance of the $100 billion mark. We'll keep an eye out on that. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business Saturday. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18.